Hello everyone, and welcome to another Top 5 Records video. And after an entire month of listening to all the Nick Cave The Bad Seeds album, I just went to a listening party here in Amsterdam in Concerto to listen to this one. The new 18th album, Wild God. What does it sound like? Well, I'm gonna tell you in a bit. First, this record, I love the artwork, and this is something you rarely see. This is thick cardboard. They have put a real effort into this pressing, and that's just very interesting. But that aside, what are we listening to here? And this is a Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds that is not completely new. Though Nick Cave has stated in the press releases that the band and he himself are at this moment very happy because the last couple of albums, they were often referred to as his grief trilogy. You can hear that the passing of his son, actually his sons, is taking a very big influence, and they are setting the mood. But somehow Nick Cave tries to assure us that it's not setting the mood. And honestly, I disagree. It might not set the mood in its entirety, but the element of passing, the element of death, and the element of a moment beyond grief is what sets the tone here. This record is Nick Cave at his most church-like. This might be his most religious record yet, though, as in Nick Cave fashion, it's not religion as written down. Nick Cave uses the element of God, wild God, but God is more around on this record, in a very free interpretation. This record, in a certain way, is it's very cheerful in a certain way. And while listening, I was wondering from certain times, is he really cheerful, or is he really grasping on to all the hope he can find after this loss? Now, there are certain songs that make this rather ambiguous. Opening with Song of the Lake, which I enjoyed. It's a good song. Then we get to Wild God. Wild God is more of a myth with regard to his title character, the Wild God. Well, what's he doing? The lyrics, and that's something that is very noticeable here, is the lyrics are different from the old times fashion storytelling he has. He used to write very strong, direct narratives with characters. This is, just as with Skeleton Tree, more written by association. As a matter of fact, at some songs, for example the song Joy, he repeats himself. And it reminds me, in the beginning it reminded me of blues, like a blues vocalist can repeat certain lines. But this one, Nick Cave gets into a rhythm of this American preacher. Yet, he is a preacher in his own way, with his own mannerisms. And for example, on the song Joy, and Joy is one of the highlights of Wild God, it's so incredible. The repetition alters what he's trying to say. Even within the lyrics, he is repeating beginnings of sentences as he's trying to get something across. He's becoming somewhat of a mythical preacher here. Joy is an incredible song. And the song before that, Frogs, is the one that makes the element of post-mourning or making mourning part of daily life very ambiguous. Frogs. Frogs, with a recurring line of "In the Sunday Rain," sneaks certain lyrics in there that are different and tensionous, really. For example, this is one I really noticed. Oh Lord, the children in the heavens, jumping for joy, jumping for love. I find it very hard to comprehend in a certain way. Is he embracing heaven as part of life? Is he embracing the fact that his children did live and that he can, with their grief in his heart, move on? I'm not so sure, but I do notice that this is tough and ambiguous territory, and Nick Cave does not shy away from that. He does take new steps in how do you make death and life after death part of your life. It's a recurring theme. Not the last song, but the one before that one is called Oh Wow, How Wonderful She Is, which is written for Anita Lane. And Anita Lane used to be a member of the Bad Seeds. She used to be a partner of Nick Cave, so there was a very close relationship, and in 2021 she passed away. And this song really gets under your skin because it uses a vocal phone recording of Anita Lane made in December 2019. He's integrating life before death on this record, this record works in a very mysterious way. At the moment of Final Rescue Attempt, I was wondering, well, how am I experiencing this? Because musically it reminds me of Ghosteen, a strong band, the elements of an orchestra there, pop rock songs. There are more gospel elements here than in Ghosteen. But suddenly I felt, out of nowhere, during the lyrics of I Will Always Love You, I felt goosebumps. I felt strangely touched by what's going on here. Then he goes to Conversion, which really puts the emphasis on the Nick Cave religious part, which is his own religion in a sense. Then Cinnamon Horses. Cinnamon Horses is very intriguing because he's playing with new symbolism here. Symbolisms that I did not notice in the really early Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds albums. With White Vampires, Cinnamon Horses. One of the highlights for me, I have not discussed yet, is Long Dark Night. It has to do with the vocal of Nick Cave, because there are moments here when he's in a high-pitched voice, or when it's not too high, but you can feel and notice that he is putting strength and strain. And some of the earlier songs of this record do not have his strongest vocal performances in that regard. It never becomes a problem for me, but just as I noticed when he quit heroin in 2000, in No More Shall We Part, you can notice that there's this fragility when he enters the high notes, and he puts strength on his throat. You have that in the beginning, but in Long Dark Night, he finds the deep, direct power of his voice, as is unheard on this album, or on Ghosteen for that matter. And I love Ghosteen. Long Dark Night is melodically so strong, simple, and his voice is so deep, dark, gorgeous, and direct. A lot is to be said about this one. Wild God is, I think, among the best records of Nick Cave and Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, not the Wild Seeds, where the wild roses grow. But where would I rank it? I'm not gonna tell that in this video. Tomorrow I'm gonna do a full video ranking all the Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds albums. So I'll see you then in that video. And for now, thanks for watching. I'm curious, what do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Leave a comment below and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.